welcome back to another episode of Life Changers. Just had a brain fart there for a sec. And my name is Mike. Mike. Uh, and today we're going to talk about positive energy. I know it's a lot of you, maybe some of you guys out there, people listening, have already a lot of positive energy. But I'm just going to talk about how I live my life with positive energy. Even before I learned about law of attraction, even growing up, I've always had a positive outlook on life. And how I came about to keep this positive energy and how it's an ongoing battle. And then what I'm trying to achieve for me, which I think will help everybody who's listening and who wants to join and follow along. And eventually we'll create a community where we could always just have positive energy and flow and just feed off each other's energy. Because how many times have you guys been to an event or been to a workshop or stuff like that, and just all this amazing energy, and you're just like so gung-ho, like, or you learned about how to, make your business more successful, and you got so motivated, and you're just like ready to run out the ball, and you're like so excited, and then you get out into the real world, and then you start applying this, and then the energy is gone. And now you're like, what am I doing? Right? Right? You could tell, like, if anybody who's listening who have your own companies or startup companies or anything, how many people on a, weekly or maybe daily go, when am I trying this so hard? Why don't I just go get a job and no stress? Why am I doing this? I get that sometimes. I'll be like, today it was busy. And I'm putting out in the universe that I'm going to get the right people, the right employees, the right team, right managements that I believe would work the best with me and the company that the universe will provide, right? I'm just going to let that happen, but I'm going to work the day to day, and we're restructuring the company and learning a lot and figuring out pricing. But in the end, it's just sometimes I'm like, I know it's a good problem to have when you're busy, but I'm like, it's so busy. It's raining outside. So disgusting. I could get another job at health and safety or something, inspector, and get paid no stress. What am I doing this for? And I just think I'm doing this because I want to live my life now and spend my life with my family and traveling and doing what I want to do. So what is a couple years, 4 years of restructuring and getting this all organized up and running and just going to flow of the universe to the point where I know I'm going to end up traveling. And I might sound cocky for saying this, but this is what I'm building towards for, as I mentioned in previous episodes, years and years, I would say 8-9 years I've been gone by where I felt like I should be doing this and talking about my experience of growing my company and learning through the law of attraction and how I apply that to my business and how I bring the energy in there and just, everything I'm learning all the time with the surrender experiment, breaking the habit of being yourself and just loving life and trying to be positive in every aspect. Hey, the last 2 years, especially if you're in Canada, has been hard for a lot of people, but it's been, on a side note, positive for our company's growth. We've jumped tenfold because we're a necessity company, and we're willing to go the extra mile and take care of our customers and go all over and help everywhere we can with our company. But I've started the new brand in 2019, just before I took off to Florida. So I'm like, I'm going to set this up, go to Florida. And then I'll come back and see what happens. Go with the flow, right? Surrender experiment. And then when I got back, the company was just going so big that where I originally had it set up and with the individuals I had worked out a deal with, we can't keep up. It's too crazy. And I was like, okay. And then I just moseyed around, looked around, drove 2 hours, and eventually found a nice warehouse and a good landlord, and now we doubled in size and got 2 warehouses going, and Kuna Matata, right? Just this rent experiment. And I brought in one of my brother-in-laws and had some family, and then we started hiring people. And as of now, as you probably gather, they all moved on to bigger, better jobs. It's not that we're not a good fit, but some people are traveling 2 hours, an hour and a half. So to work closer to home is better with the fuel prices going the way they are right now in Canada in 2022. But I digress. Just, yeah, it's been positive. Like, the universe was like, hey, set this up. And I'm like, okay. Because that was my goal, is to have a recession-proof company. I've had my company through the recession in '08, and I did good. I did okay. Like, I wasn't hurting. Didn't need to, right? Like, I've been looked out for, right? Positive attitude, positive energy. So in 2019, I set up this other brand, and it just took off. And yeah, it slowed down now that everything's getting back to normal in the world. So I'm going to ramp up the way it should have ramped up in normal years. But at least it did what it did, and we helped a lot of people, and now we have an amazing service all over for hard to reach places for, I guess, people that need anything they want shipped to them. But I digress. It's hard to be positive the last couple of years, but we've just have the positive energy and just let the universe take care of it. The universe prepared me, man. I'm telling you now. The universe hooked me up in 2019. I picked out those 3 stocks just out of the blue because I felt like my gut or my higher self, the universe was kind of guiding me that way. And I was just like, okay, surrender. I'm just going to try it, And then, I'm going to start this new brand. And it was just like, ooh, just popped in my mind. Just like, oh. And I know I didn't come up with that idea. I'm like, hey, I'm a genius. No, it's my higher self or the universe who's a genius is like, hey, put that into practice. And I was like, yeah, sure. And even though some of my friends, negative friends, right? No, negative energy. Oh, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't do that. Oh, no, don't hire me to do all this work for you. And then you're going to scrap it. I'm like, no, man, I'm going to hire you. And in 2019, and the last 2 years, it's been amazing because he had work as much as he wanted to work. He had a couple of kids over the course of the last couple of years, and he was grateful that he was able to, when he had time to work for me, he worked online, and when he does all our web development and everything. And when he doesn't have time, he spends time with his family, and that's what he wants to do. He's like, this is amazing. Like, we couldn't predict this. And I'm like, no, but our, higher self can, the universe can, just go with the flow. It knows what's going on out there and through the energy of the world. And you can learn. But yeah, I'm the positive guy in our group of friends, and growing up, I've always been positive. Like, 1 year, me and one of my friends, we tried out for the track and field team, and we didn't make it. And perspective, right? Perspective. He took it hard, and I'm useless. I'm not good at anything. Oh, poor me, right? The end of the world for him. And I'm like, come on, man. Just don't let that beat you. It can make you stronger. So I'm like, no, I'm going to make it next year. And I put a lot of positive energy into it, and a lot of, I'm going to be amazing at this. Hindsight. My dad and my mom both worked, and when my parents would leave for work, sometimes I would run after the car. And at first it became fun for my dad, see how fast I could run. He's looking at the speedometer, like, oh, yeah. To the point where I was running pretty quick, and he's just like, oh. He could keep up, right? So in hindsight, I used that energy when I tried out for the track and field the next school year, and I told my buddy, "You gonna come try with me?" Oh, no. So he let it defeat him. But my perspective was, I'm going to conquer it because I'm amazing. I could do anything I put my mind to, and I want to do this to prove it to myself that I could do anything. And lo and behold, I became athlete of the year that year for our school. I was not only on the track and field team, they put me on the cross country team. They put me on I forget, Ultimate Frisbee team, and there's a couple of other teams. And a year later, I ended up for the Jeux de Québec, which is the provincial local games, and I took home gold in every category I went into. And I've never done long jump before. And they're like, just do it. You run 100 meters and you jump. Just plant your feet over here in the dirt. I was like, oh, okay. So I ran as fast because I was amazing at everything. And that's the attitude I had was I was the best at everything. You give it to me, I'll be amazing at it. I'm going to be my best at anything I do because that's the way I want to be. And I know we talk about it in other episodes, but exactly, I did that. I ran as fast as I could, jump, planted my feet, and had records. I still have records today in the province of Quebec for track and field and cross country and stuff like that. And then one day I was like, I'm done. And when I got to high school, I was like, I'm done. I stopped with track and field because now I wanted to be amazing at something else. So I got to drama, acting, and I put my heart and soul into it and said, I'm amazing at it. It comes natural to me. And a lot of people were like, everything comes natural to you. Like growing up, people are like, everything's natural. You're like, you rock climb, you're just natural. You're in drama class and you do amazing at that. Like and I'm like, yeah, because I'm amazing at everything. I don't want to sound like a pompous asshole, but yeah. And that at my, as I say, at my peak was the most positive energy I've ever had in my life was a lot of those years. And for some reason, something happened. And I'll talk to you about that in the next episode where things have changed and I lost a lot of that positive energy and I'm trying to find it and get it back. And then I'll talk a little bit how I found some of it and where it is. So once again, my name is Mike. And remember, you're a work in progress. It takes one day at a time. And thank you very much for listening.